Hello everyone, welcome to the new episode of the VYRus Show, a podcast about design, proud discussion on design. Don't mind that it's different environment. I came back to my home. और आज का podcast episode थोड़ा different होने वाला है. We will be talking about design, but a different part of design, building a design community. And we have Sanjay. Sanjay, I'm a big fan of yours. So before we move ahead, would you like to introduce people who don't know you and people who are living under the rock? I say this in every podcast because I am having an opportunity or the pleasure to uh, host people like you, people who are famous and are doing great work. So yeah, over to you, Sanjay.
Thank you so much, first of all, Vaibhav, for having me on the show, and it's really a pleasure to be here, and I'm glad we're finally able to do this. Actually,
Exactly.
sorry,
Over to you.
sorry. Yeah, so a little bit about myself. So I have been in design for I think close to 8+ years now, roughly, and started off as an illustrator, I would say. इंजीनियरिंग पहले कर ली
Yes.
लाइक द मोस्ट ऑफ द इंडियन जनता कि भाई इंजीनियरिंग कर ली फिर सोचा कि क्या करना है एक्चुअली ड्यूरिंग द इंजीनियरिंग इटसेल्फ आई फिगर्ड आउट कि हाँ मुझे ना डिज़ाइन में इंटरेस्ट है आर्ट में इंटरेस्ट है क्रिएटिव चीज़ों में इंटरेस्ट है सो ड्यूरिंग माई सेकेंड ईयर ऑफ बैचलर्स मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग आई यूज टू गो टू दिस प्लेस कॉल्ड अगर दिल्ली वाले हो कोई हो सुन रहे हो तो यू गाइस नो दैट हॉस्कास विलेज कैसी चीज़ है तो अभी तो मुझे मतलब द वाइब हैज चेंज्ड राइट नाउ बट बैक इन द डे इट वाज रियली नाइस वहाँ पे आर्ट गैलरीज वगैरह अभी भी है सो देयर आई वुड डिस्प्ले माय आर्ट वर्क्स एंड एग्जीबिशंस सीपी में किया एग्जीबिशंस दिल्ली में हैदराबाद में सो आई डिड एग्जीबिशंस हियर एंड देयर and I think one of them in Bangalore as well, I think so, long back. So that sort of started off something, uh, you know, कि यार कुछ है like you know this engineering is not something that I really want to do. And also along with this actually क्या हो रहा था ना कि I was really interested in cars. So किसी ने मुझे सजेस्ट किया कि एक काम करो पहले इंजीनियरिंग कर लो मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग कर लो वो एवरग्रीन है वो होता है ना कि एवरग्रीन है
हाँ,
वो ले लो ठीक है एंड मैंने बोला यार मेरे को ऑटोमोटिव डिजाइन में जाना सो पीपल सेड व्हाई डोंट यू डू मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग वहां से जा सकते हो सो आई एंडेड अप डूइंग कपल ऑफ इंटर्नशिप्स एक तो मैंने फोक्सवैगन के साथ किया था थर्ड ईयर के बाद और उससे पहले निसान के साथ किया सेकेंड ईयर के बाद देयर आई गॉट टू नो कि हाँ यार ये तो बिल्कुल ही अलग है ये कुछ और ही है ये मुझे नहीं करना है देन आई स्टार्टेड exploring the field of design. I got to know about design and मुझे एनआईडी के बारे में भी 2014 में ही पता लगा है जब मेरा ग्रेजुएशन हो रहा है ठीक है तो काफी लेट पता लगा then a little bit background about this and then I followed my passion to do design and then I got into illustrations because I was good at depicting things visually. I didn't know that I was good at visuals back then तो मुझे लग रहा था कि मैं बना सकता हूँ कुछ ना कुछ you know. So I was trying to sell that as a service. So I was doing freelancing. कोई logo बना ले रहा है, कोई कुछ कर ले रहा है, तो वो सब चल रहा है. Then I took up masters in transportation design. I went to Italy. I studied for 1.5 year का course था, and then I did some freelance there. And then I thought कि when I move back, I want to start something on my own. And that's when it all started actually. The whole thing about uh, entrepreneurial journey, I would say. 2018 September is when I moved back. And it's been almost 2 years that I was in Italy and I was cut off from the Indian design scene, what was happening.
one golden piece of advice to all the young designers who are watching this.
Okay.
It can be
So
anything. It can be anything about. It can be even like about like general advice. Anything.
chill करो यार थोड़ा.
बहुत सही, बहुत सही. I strongly agree with this, man. I strongly agree with this. I find it so hard to do this, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Go on, go on.
So because we're so bombarded with information, left, right, center, क्या चल रहा है? Pressure है, ये है, वो है. I mean, you have to enjoy life. You have to chill for a bit because at the end of the day, this is a creative job. This is a creative field. It requires your mind working at 100%. ठीक है? So you need to give your mind that leverage. You have to take care of your mind. You go to the gym, you take care of your body, but what are you doing to take care of your mind? So you have to take care of your mind. थोड़ा सा
Exactly.
chill करने की ज़रूरत है. That's a requirement. So yeah, I mean, take a break. You know, that is important. There will be thousands of people who will tell you what to do, and very less people who would say take a break. So I
Yeah.
want to be that person who can tell you and say that today it is not working out, tomorrow it will not work out, a week from now it will not work out, but a month from now maybe it will work out. A year from now it will work out. ठीक है? So there's no point in sacrificing your life for something that is materialistic. ठीक है? And अगर आज नहीं सॉल्व हो रहा है तो कल हो जाएगा, परसों हो जाएगा, बाद में हो जाएगा. उसके लिए you cannot, lose on life. So that is a very important thing that I've learned personally. So बोला ना 2.5 साल में
I
straight
was
काम
about to
किया.
come on that, yeah.
हाँ, बोला ना
वो
2.5
experience दिखता
years.
है,
Yeah, I've learned it the tough way. I've missed so many things, in life. So burnout. I didn't know what burnout was.
Okay.
So until somebody told me, bro, this is burnout. जाओ break ले ले.
Happened with me also, yeah.
हाँ. So it's very important to take a break and process है. ठीक है? 12th floor तक जाना है तो सारी सीढ़ियाँ तो चढ़नी है. एक स्टेप चढ़ के 12th floor नहीं पहुंच जाओगे. To have that patience to go through that 12th floor के steps or staircases.
अरे कोई कमेंट करेगा लिफ्ट हो तो
भाई लिफ्ट है तो you have a shortcut.
there is no shortcut, yeah,
नहीं
honestly.
नहीं I would
वो
say
lift
okay,
भी
let
हर
me
floor पे
rephrase
होके
this.
जाएगी ना.
Let me rephrase this.
Yeah,
Not a
sorry.
shortcut but a privilege.
Privilege. हाँ, privilege. People
Yeah.
waste that. I've
Yeah.
seen people wasting that, yeah. In my college, there were rich kids. बहुत सारे. Private university, so there were a lot of rich kids. कुछ नहीं किए. They just chilled, they just enjoyed. और अभी they are happy with big MNCs में basic Infosys की
Yeah, I
jobs में.
mean, it's
They're
their
chilling.
choice of life, ना?
Same thing, but अच्छा खराब लगता है. Like
हाँ.
I am trying hard to get at that stage.
Yeah.
Literally, अरे हम खून पसीना एक कर रहे हैं. अभी हमको वहां पहुंचने में जहाँ पे वो हैं, उनकी मेहनत नहीं है, उनके घर वालों की मेहनत है. वहां पहुंचने में हमें लगेंगे 5-6 साल में. And they're having chilling, like not respecting that privilege.
But you know what? The funny thing is, like when you look at it backwards, when you talked about connecting the dots, imagine whatever you're doing now, was your dad or mom, were they ever in a position to do that?
That makes so much sense
है
right
ना?
now. Exactly.
नहीं ना,
नहीं कर सकते कभी नहीं.
वो हम
हाँ.
लोगों को ये privilege है कि
हाँ.
हम ये कर सकते हैं. So we've definitely come a long way from what we were. So हमारे लिए what we're looking at is completely their life, ना?
हाँ. वो
Their situation. So everybody's journey is different. In our journey, we've come a long way. And we have the privilege to take breaks.
exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So we all have privileges. So I mean, we have to appreciate that. We have to at least recognize that we have certain privileges and be happy for that. क्योंकि हम लोग ना क्या करते हैं कि I wouldn't talk about other people, but how I was, I would look at things that what other people have and what I don't. It took me a long time to actually focus on what I have. And when I thought about that, it was insane. I have so many things. I have so many things that the other people don't. So this played a major role in shaping my perspective, my point of view. Okay. So this is something that we have to learn. Like I'm still learning. I wouldn't say I have learned it completely. But there's something that we have to learn. Ki everybody has privileges.
It is all about comparison, I would say.
हाँ तो वो comparison में जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, is what I feel.
Comparison सबसे बड़ा challenge है आज के time में.
हाँ है because
You don't like, you know that it is a bad thing, but still you will be doing the same thing.
yeah, because it's the way, see, I've been creating content for a while. ठीक है, long before this was called content.
Okay.
ठीक है.
Okay.
I've been creating videos. I've been creating informative videos, right?
Okay.
Now we say content, right? So it is created in a way to attract people. ठीक है. Now how do we attract people? You show them something really bad, will they want it for themselves? No, right?
Never, yeah.
You will not. You show something that is aspirational, something that you want. Desire create कर दिया ना, तो वो चाहिए.
वो तो फिर सबको चाहिए.
वो चाहिए. So this content is created certain way. You know, all of it comes down to not design, but being aware of what you are, what you want. So this is more on the psychological aspect of it. So
Exactly.
I tend to get a little psychological, a little philosophical, but that is how my approach to design is, and how to everything,
And
basically.
design has a lot of things
Yeah.
that is influenced from psychology and psychology.
Yes, definitely.
Because it's there is a human behavior part as well. That can be a very separate topic. We can go on for an hour or two.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
it is always there because whatever you are creating as a designer, not as an artist, as a designer,
Right.
like there is a endless debate about art and design also. Like,
Right.
is art equal to design? Is art and
Mm.
design different or something like that? It is always there. But as a designer, when there is a problem to solve, you have to understand human behavior.
Yeah,
That is there. अब
Yeah,
माइक कैसे
absolutely.
पकड़ रहा बंदा, ये चीज तो सीखना पड़ेगा. That is also
absolutely.
technology. Yeah. So yeah, I think we got a lot of things. With this, would like to wrap this up. So,
Great.
folks, this was the first. I think this was the 10th episode of this VYRus
wow.
show, and yeah, thank you so much. Completed the 10th episode, 10 episodes of the podcast. Yeah, it's been a while. This year has been a very roller coaster ride for me. Thank you, Sushant. We had sorry. Thank you, Sanjay. Sushant Bora again. My bad. So shout out to Sushant as well. He's the next guest. Yeah, my bad.
Cool.
Yeah. So today we had Sanjay. Sanjay, it was a very, very great conversation with you. I absolutely enjoyed and I got to learn a lot of things, especially that cheer wala part, like just chill karo. So yeah, to all those creatives, chill karo, bhai, relax karo. Don't take it too hard on yourself because बहुत time है. Gary Vee के वीडियो देख लो और समझ में आ जाएगा. So you have time, just relax. So thank you Sanjay.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Vaibhav, and shout out to you too as well.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Good work you're doing. I'm glad that you started your podcast. Amazing videos that you're creating. Keep
Thank
doing
you.
that. Keep adding a lot of this informative thing to the community, to the design, community that we have. So it needs a lot of people like you.
Thank you. That is the mission. I hope I can help people be a better designer in the upcoming generation. So
definitely. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I wanted to know what was happening, and I started traveling to Chennai, Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, of course, Delhi. So there I understood that it has changed a bit, and a few things have changed, few things haven't changed. Then I started doing workshops. I started teaching people how to do illustrations, how to do doodles and stuff. Though I did my master's in transportation design, I always had this visual thing going on. All throughout my portfolio also, all my professors would say, why don't you incorporate this? Why don't you do something in this? तो वो हमेशा चलता रहता था. So when I moved back, I started doing, again, branding projects. I was briefly heading creative direction for a startup in Chennai, incubated in IIT Madras उस time पे. It was an electric bicycle startup. So that project somehow got shelved because of various reasons. There were multiple co-founders and all of them engineers, and they were also not very clear with their project timeline. So that was a good experience for me because I got to work on the brand from the scratch. I understood. While I was also overseeing the design of that bicycle. And that was a really interesting project actually. So my friend Riju and he was essentially doing the design part of it. So we still go back and, we have that conversation. यार, अच्छा project था वो, that should have been out. करना चाहिए था वो, वो बाहर आना चाहिए था.
Yeah.
Yeah, you work so hard on that and then the project is shelved. अरे यार, अब क्या करें? इतना time लगा दिया and then we don't have anything to show, So that sort of a thing happened, and then that's when I thought कि I have to start something on my own. Although I did work for a company as a senior art director, and I did not apply for it. So yeah, आगे से ही आया opportunity, and I only worked for 35 days and I quit. And that was the first and last job. I don't think many know about this. So I think this is the first time I've ever mentioning on a podcast also. Okay. So I worked for 35 days and I quit. I was like, यार इतनी मेहनत किया मैं अपने ही कुछ initiative पे काम कर लूँ तो it'll be good, Maybe I'll earn less in the beginning, but it'll be good to see something grow in the future, So that's when I started Red Tin Studio, and the first project that I did was with Swiggy. It was a creative campaign again for Bangalore. So that's where it all started. The whole design as a service thing started. Then there is something called mentoring. So back in 2016, I was 2015-16. I was All India rank 14 NID में. तो मैंने कहा यार अभी भी I went to schools, I went to colleges, I went to take these design awareness workshops in schools. So I went to CBSE as well. I saw how the exposure was there when I was in Italy. हम लोग बैठ के sketches बना रहे हैं, ठीक है, class में. And this was a master's batch, right? So we were making cars, we were making bikes. And then suddenly, all of a sudden, I see like छोटे-छोटे बच्चे तुम्हारे desk के पास आ रहे हैं, and then they're seeing this, they're getting, all amazed at what we were doing, and they're like, this is so cool. तो मतलब इटली में था तो फिर सारे गोरे गोरे से बच्चे थे साइड में तो it was cool to see. But I was so what do you say, this thing left an imprint in my mind कि यार जो छोटा बच्चा देख के जा रहा है ना, उसको ये पता है कि आगे कॉलेज में जाके मैं ये कर सकता हूँ, है ना?
Exactly.
और वो मुझे नहीं पता था. So I was like, यार, why don't I go to CBSE and I talk about this? So I went to CBSE. हाथ पैर मारे, somehow got an appointment with one of the people there, and had a long conversation. 2 घंटा बात करी, आधे घंटे का टाइम दिया उन्होंने, मैंने 2 घंटा, somehow it happened. And then that person put me in touch with somebody who would take care of the curriculums of the CBSE, new subjects, electives, and all of those things. And surprisingly, there are electives design के, ठीक है, CBSE के curriculum में है. तो मैंने सोचा अब स्कूल प्रिंसिपल से बात किया जाए कि भाई वो क्यों नहीं आ रहे हैं ना डिजाइन में, अपने करिकुलम में. Then they have their own challenges because एक सब्जेक्ट के लिए कोई एक टीचर कहाँ से लाएगा? And that is also for only 1 or 2 people in the class who might opt for that elective. So वो 2 स्टूडेंट्स के लिए या 1 स्टूडेंट के लिए वो एक टीचर कहाँ से लाए?
Makes
That's
sense.
a big challenge. Yeah, business doesn't work like that, So it is a challenge. So that's when I decided कि हाँ चलो ठीक है. I've been mentoring design aspirants, so why not formalize all of this and make courses and stuff. So that's when I started Design X Studio. That's where the design, I would say, productized service sort of a thing in terms of business, I would say. So that's where this started. And 2020 COVID में, sitting at home, everybody, May 30th, I guess, I always had this idea of starting a podcast. So I started the podcast in COVID. सब घर पे बैठे हैं, that is the best time where I can get people to be on the podcast. So that's where it started ki design podcast ek detox the design podcast it started, and 61 episodes into it right now, and got recognized, featured, Spotify featured, etc, etc, etc. But that was never the goal. But the goal was always, to know about कि industry में क्या चल रहा है. So that I wanted to know. Then it's a bit of a big intro here, but I'm going to give a context to each and everything.
I love this, and I hope the audience will definitely enjoy this. So,
because there's so many things I do, and I want to give context to it, because एक इस direction में है, एक उस direction में है. So
that is great.
Yeah. So then after COVID, first wave, second wave gone, I took a sabbatical. I went to Coorg so then I was living in Delhi. Okay. So I came to Coorg, lived 45 days.
Yep.
In Kushal Nagar, there's this place before Coorg, 40 minutes pehle. And I had my friend staying there, and he had a scooty, and I was like, okay, scooty lo aur niklo. Us time pe my whole point, those 45 days, was doing nothing, because it was a sabbatical. I didn't want to work anymore. Because तब तक मैं 2-2.5 साल, almost 2 years and some 5 months, I didn't take a break. I was building Redton Studio, I was building Design X Studio, and then this podcasting also happened. So I was like stretched on all sides. Time बचता था तो फिर podcast में चला जा रहा है. Time है तो फिर courses बना रहे हैं. ठीक है? And it was crazy. It was insane. So I used to work crazy hours. I think I used to sleep 5 hours max in a day, and no weekends for me. So I worked straight for 2.5 years almost, no breaks at all. So that's when I took the sabbatical कि हाँ मुझे अभी break लेना है. Like I want to take a break. And that's when it hit me that, okay, I've spent so much time teaching. Why don't I, sort of put it on autopilot for a bit, and then see what I want to do with the design service side of it, because I'm missing that. So I want to design, I want to feel like, I want to create things. So I was like, okay, I'll make a course, and I'll only do feedback sessions. Although I'm not, I constantly update the course though. So that way I'm not actively teaching, but then my mentees are also, do the work, and then they bring that to me. So that was a win-win situation for both of us actually. So that started off, and that's when I thought, कि अरे यार, if this is happening, and then the courses were slightly expensive for the tier 2 and tier 3 cities folks. So I was sort of feeling disappointed, because my whole point was that I have to create this awareness about design, right? I did not have the idea. I did not have any resources like this. So why am I selling courses that people cannot afford? So that's when the idea came कि एक बारी if you've been to Kushal Nagar or Coorg, you'll see Kaveri Nisargdama करके ना एक offshoots of the river are there. And I was just sitting there and sketching अपना sketchbook में. And I always carry the sketchbook. I think I still have it here. I can show it to you here. Yeah, just today I took this out and I was like, yeah, I should get back to sketching, And, I used to make things like this. Just random sketches of trees and stuff. I think I was doing a series on barks. So I was doing these things, pen sketches and stuff. So random concepts. So
these are art pieces. I don't know. I am bad at sketching, so I love these. I love people who can create such great things. So,
thank you.
Huge respect, man. Yeah.
So I was doing this, and that's when it struck me. यार मैं एक book क्यों नहीं लिखता,
I was about to come on that point also, yeah. Because folks who don't know, please Google Sanjay Reddy. He has done so many things, like 8 years of experience. and I did AIR 14 and going to Italy to study, then having a book and being a podcast. So it was a pleasure and it was a huge achievement for me to ask you to
Thank
get
you.
on this podcast. And glad we met on the event. So it was great.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, I mean, it was finally actually it was really nice to meet you that day in
Fine.
Bangalore because we've been talking about and we've been discussing internally also in our teams, that there's this guy whose visual sense is good. That's what the thing that caught our attention because the way we were, taking forward the branding for Designland, um, at that point, and even still, I think that it's very open-ended, the branding, and we haven't really scratched the surface of branding. So it's just a small asset, I would say, that we have made. So there's a lot to do. So that's when we thought about it. Okay, this guy really understands the visual sense, and I still remember the poster that you had made for
Yeah.
Designland. Yeah,
Then
it
I
was a really
made that
cool
in
one.
like half an hour or an hour because I was like,
Yeah,
let's try to and do a better code pitching or something like
yeah. No,
that.
that
I
was
thought,
cool. That was
yeah,
cool. That caught our attention, and I'm really glad that we met that day. So
thank you. Yeah. Yeah, you were talking about your book. Yeah, you can go.
yeah, the book. Unfortunately, I don't have the book right now. Surprisingly, yeah, I usually have it in my bag. But yeah, so that book was something that took me on a roller coaster ride. Uh,
How come?
I really didn't. I'm not a reader. ठीक है?
Yeah.
नहीं
Yeah,
पढ़ा
and
जाता.
I have so many books. Like there was a time when I bought
Huh.
17 books in one day. 10
Oh,
of them were
crazy,
manga. 10 of them were manga. So you can
crazy,
say like
crazy.
7 self-help books. And I still
Right.
haven't finished 2 of them.
Crazy, crazy. So I always collect books, yes, but I've never been a reader. I think I've only read like 3 or 4 books in my entire lifetime. I was
Yeah.
apart from the coursework that we had, no, all the years. But so अब मैं पढ़ा नहीं रहा हूँ, and also there is this problem of people not knowing about design. So as part of the podcast, what started happening was I used to get calls from not students, parents. So they would say that आपका podcast देखा है मैंने YouTube पे. अब मेरी बच्ची है, मेरा बेटा है. अब हमें तो कुछ पता नहीं इसके बारे में, तो अभी क्या करना है? आपका पॉडकास्ट देखा, आपका वीडियो देखा, हमें अच्छा लगा, हमने आपको कॉल किया. सीधी सी बात. तो मैंने कहा ठीक है आप. Then I would get on calls and my team was really concerned at some point about this because I would spend hours on calls every single day explaining people what design is, etc, etc, etc. And my team was, यार संजय तू अगर ऐसे बात करेगा, like if you do this then you'll go nuts in some time, a few days you'll go nuts. कितने calls ले लोगे? And I was glad to the point that people are asking and this podcast is reaching there. So that is my biggest win that day. I was like, okay, the first call that I got today, and after that calls followed somehow or the other. I don't know how, it just happened. So that's when I thought, okay, I could write something about introduction to design which can help people understand what design is, and then it can inform the masses, let's say, in a very simple way. That's where it started. And I spent 2 years and 4 months on it. So it was quite the journey. I had written, rewritten. I still have I think content that can go into another book that is just lying in my laptop that I just discarded.
Okay.
वो भी पढ़ा है. But one of the book.
Another book coming soon.
I don't know, man. I might have to see how I can put it together. But yes, I mean, yeah, I might want to take a break. I don't want to write as of now, but yeah, sometime in the future, yes, I would soon get back to it because I think I really like expressing, writing, and then illustrating it. So that was the really good thing about the process. It has changed my approach to branding. Now I do branding differently. It's a beautiful experience. I mean, I think I've called up few of my friends and said, bro, this is what I'm doing. This is how my experience writing the book has changed my branding process. I was like crazy. I was really feeling really happy about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was even reading a book, Thinking Straight by Darius Forbes. उसमें उन्होंने भी like mention किया है कि he himself like sometimes he's typing his journal and all. Sometimes he's
Right.
visually drawing things and his thoughts.
Yeah.
So it makes it clear in our head कि like
Yeah.
क्या सोचना है, क्या चल रहा है दिमाग में, जो भी मैस है सारा सामने आ गया. Now you can realize कि इसमें से आधे तो फालतू है. Human brain, human thoughts. You cannot do anything. You cannot
Yeah.
control your thoughts. You can control on what you want to act on this.
Yeah.
So like I don't read book, but या किसी तरह से एक साइड में एक छोटी बुक उठाई और पढ़ के खत्म किया, तो काफी अच्छा लगा कि after so long I finished a book. So
Right.
yeah, sometimes it like 100 बुक पढ़ेंगे, एक बुक हिट कर जाती है, काफी अच्छा लगता
Yeah, yeah, I know that happens actually. I mean, it's what's beautiful about books is that I've realized that although I have not read many books, but it opens you up as a person. So
Exactly.
For me, it were the conversations with the people who've read books. So I didn't want to read the books still.
Yeah.
So I would go to people who've read books. So I would say, okay, I would have discussions about particular books, about particular books with them, so that I get whatever is there in the book in a short span.
The gist of the whole book.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So before we jump straight into the topic of building a community, I would like to understand more about you. So one question I ask every of my guests is that, did anything from your past, like in your childhood, like before getting into the actual world when you were young, when you were a kid, impact you as a creative, as a designer? Like you mentioned that there are those kids जो देख रहे थे वो आगे चल के वो सोचेंगे. Something like that happened to you before or not?
Yeah, so what happened was I used to draw as a kid. I would draw anything and everything. I would draw Pokemons तो बनाते ही थे उस time पे. I don't know this generation would relate to Pokemon.
Pokemon is always famous. Everyone will.
So I would draw Pokemons. I would draw हमारे moral studies में जो stories होते थे ना, so उसमें छोटे छोटे pictures होते थे. So I would draw that. Then all of those things I used to keep on doing, and my art class was the favorite in my school. So I would do a lot of art stuff, and also the teacher would also appreciate it. So that's when it actually felt like, okay, this is good, My maths teacher never appreciated me. I mean,
Yeah.
So there was this professor teacher Mahesh sir, मेरे को अभी भी नाम याद है. So Mahesh sir would be like, यार ये अच्छा बना है, अगली बार ऐसा कुछ करना, अगली बार वैसा कुछ करना. So that sort of stuck to me. And then yes, I have to mention this person. So there's this friend called Himanshu. और वो उसका, there are two things about him. One, he stammers. ठीक है. Second, he is so good at art. उसको देख के मैंने स्टार्ट किया था कि भाई इसके जैसा बनाना मुझे भी. एंड आज भी बोलता हूँ मैं उसको, भाई तेरी वजह से हुआ है ये. All of this is because I looked at your work and I thought I have to draw like this. So I think that was
a
main
great
thing.
Yeah, because the thing is कि as a designer, the rush जो हो चुका है industry में, there was a time, there is still the time, but earlier when I was in college, when you were in college, I got to know about the NID in my third year of college. ऐसे जो कीड और कीड भी होता है, कुछ देना होता है कि ठीक है अब हो गया, पढ़ाई लिखाई कर ली, अब काम करके सीखेंगे. अब पर वापस से पढ़ने का मन नहीं. I was thinking about masters also, but I will come on that also. But thing is कि जो रश हो गया डिजाइन का, people are like, ये थ्योरीज हैं, ये फंडामेंटल्स हैं, ये रूल्स हैं, ये सब चीजें पढ़ लो फिर तुम डिजाइनर बन, या फिर ये टूल्स हैं, फिग्मा सीख लिया, फोटोशॉप सीख लिया, तुम डिजाइनर बन. ये सबसे बड़ा क्लीशे मिसकंसेप्शन. सो ये चीज है. बट द थिंग इज कि आई हैव एक्सपीरियंस्ड मोस्ट ऑफ द डिजाइनर्स दैट आई हैव admired or I have thought of high of themselves, they all had something in common कि in the past, हर कोई करता है, in the teenage, in their early career or in their early childhood, कोई कुछ ना कुछ आर्ट क्रिएटिविटी सब कोई करता है. अब कुछ लोग उसमें से बहुत मन लगा करते हैं. आई यूज्ड टू पार्टिसिपेट इन आर्ट कॉम्पिटिशंस, नेवर वॉन लाइक सेकंड थर्ड कभी आए होंगे, फर्स्ट तो कभी नहीं आए. बट वो चीज अब जाके समझ में आ रही कि अच्छा, that art, that creativity is now coming back here in the design.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
my mom is a very great artist. She
Oh wow.
draws and she paints. Like उनकी एक पेंटिंग अभी भी रूम में पड़ी हुई है, ग्लास पे पेंटिंग की है, और नेक्स्ट लेवल. शी
Nice.
राइट्स ऑल्सो. सो मेरे पिताजी वो भी हिंदी में लिखते हैं.
Oh
लाइक
wow.
तो बहुत डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ चीजें आई हमारे डिजाइन करियर में. लाइक यू, द सेम थिंग, यू कैन नॉट कनेक्ट द डॉट्स फॉरवर्ड, इट विल ऑलवेज कनेक्ट
Yeah,
बैकवर्ड.
yeah, yeah.
तो इतना पुराना कनेक्ट होगा ये कभी पता नहीं था कि, लाइक अभी ऐसा लगता है कि हाँ चलो
Hmm.
कुछ तो आ रहा है पेरेंट्स को.
Yeah.
इंजीनियरिंग टेक में इंटरेस्ट था, बट ठीक है, वो उतना ही था जितना जरूरत है.
Hmm.
चैट जीपीटी आ गया, यूज करने आ गया, चलो काम चला ले. अब
Right.
टेक बनाने का मन कभी नहीं किया. लाइक यू
Hmm.
सेड, इंजीनियरिंग में लाइक इसमें हो नहीं रहा है अब.
Hmm.
तो और एक और चीज है इंजीनियरिंग का कि क्राउड, आई डोंट वांट टू गो वेयर द क्राउड इज, आई वांट टू गो
Yeah.
लाइक, आई वांट टू बी द रीजन ऑफ द क्राउड. ये चीज है, आगे चल के
Nice.
टाइम लगेगा.
Very
बट
cool.
CS, BTech, IIT, next level crowd, you know that.
Hmm. Hmm.
I feel kind of bad about design also, this
Hmm.
current scenario, because it is getting crowded like that. थोड़ा सा मिसकंसेप्शन लोगों को अभी भी हो रहा है, गलत हो
Yeah.
रहा है कि
Hmm.
डिजाइनर
Hmm.
तो भाई
Hmm. Hmm.
ग्लैमरस लाइफ जीते हैं,
Yeah.
lavish
Yeah.
lifestyle होती है. तो
Yeah.
that is there always. So yeah, would you like to add something on this connection?
Yes, actually, looking back, so look, talking about my family,
Yep.
how my background, again, I think this I've never shared on any other podcast because मेरा ना
Glad
एक
glad
morning.
I'm having some podcast with you.
So,
Achievement unlocked. Yeah.
so,
Got some top secret questions answered.
so, so basically, ना मेरा 50th episode, ठीक है? I thought 50th episode would be my monologue. तो वो 50th एपिसोड निकल के 10 एपिसोड भी हो गए, ठीक है? एंड I couldn't get the story out because I didn't get the story out because I was so busy doing all of these things. I was like, okay, yeah. Somehow it happened that there were other guests, who I wanted to talk to, and I happened to have, publish those episodes. And my team was like, "Arey yaar, why did you not, release your episode?" I said, "I'll do it on the 100th episode."
Oh,
तो वो अभी है. But since we're talking now, I can share a few things about my story. Although I have written a bit about this in the book. So I come from a family of my parents. My dad is the only one who studied in his entire family, and my mom couldn't finish school because 8th में ही her dad passed away, and she had to take on a lot of responsibilities. So she was the youngest in the family. My dad was, like I said, the only one who studied. None of his family members have studied, and both from the family of farmers. तो and cattle ये सब था. तो वहाँ से निकल के, and none of my family members, father's side, mother's side, nobody is remotely creative.
okay. Okay, that is a big thing, yeah.
Yeah. And तो मैंने ना एक बारी सोचा कि यार ये कहाँ से आया, like there has to be something to it, right?
Exactly.
So then I started looking at the second cousins, both sides.
Okay.
Nobody. And then second cousins के cousins. Nobody. There is nobody in my entire family.
Okay.
I could trace back to that. हाँ चलो कोई trace है. So I am basically the black sheep of the family.
क्या
ठीक है? तो this guy who's doing some completely different, कुछ भी कर रहा है ये, So there was no backing to it. But luckily I can mention that my Jiju right now, my cousin's husband, he is one hell of a creative guy. Like that is the only person who understands. So he has played a big role in, me writing the book. And he's also a writer. He's done screenplays for movies. He's written for scripts for movies, etc. And he was into direction. So a lot of things there. A lot of creative things there. So he has played an important role in how I've written the book, and also a couple of others who are in that circle. So that So these are the creative people in my life who are not related to design, but all the other things, who just opens me up. But then other than that, there's nobody else in my entire family who would be into design.
Okay.
Okay, so I think it just starts from me, maybe. I don't know. Maybe my grandfather was creative in his own way. I think because I look a lot like my grandfather.
Okay.
So look, talk, speak, walk, everything.
Cool.
So
It
yeah,
somehow connects.
yeah, it just somehow connects. I mean,
Yeah.
creativity is not just how we look at it, right? It's different in different
Exactly.
peoples, right? Yeah.
There's a recent trip to Mumbai when I went. Like right now I was thinking in a box. Like design is something that you do on a screen, like you are
Hmm.
solving a problem. And
Right.
then there are separate breed of people who are artists and creatives. You are a
Yeah.
designer, you are completely different from them.
Yeah.
That like that perception was changed when I was there.
Hmm.
Like it was filled with people who are in the film industry. And film
Hmm.
industry is the biggest collection, a collaborative effort of creatives
Yeah.
in every domain. Like that is the like epitome of collaboration, I would say.
Yeah.
Even in Martin Neuber in his book mentioned about Hollywood and
Hmm.
how such number of people come together to create a single project,
Yeah.
and that single project exceeds the expectation.
Yeah.
So I was fascinated by like how different people think, how different people perceive simple things.
Hmm.
There is I think there is a story that there is a elephant and few people are around there और उनके आंख बांध दिया गया. अब
Hmm.
अलग अलग तरफ से कोई कुछ छू रहा है और छू के उसको बता रहा है कि क्या है
Hmm.
ये. सबका
Yeah.
अलग अलग परसेप्शन है. कोई बोल रहा है सांप है, कोई बोल रहा है भालू है, कोई बोल रहा है दीवार है. So that was the thing that I experienced. Like creativity and art is all such a
Yeah.
cohesive thing. And
Absolutely.
डिजाइनर जो है वो बस उसमें से कुछ चीजें निकाल रहे हैं, लगा रहे हैं.
Hmm.
एंड देन दे ऑल्सो हैव देयर आर्टिस्टिक साइड. वो अगर नहीं है तो फिर बोर हो जाएंगे, वो कॉर्पोरेट
Hmm.
मजदूर बन के रह जाएंगे, फिर मजा नहीं आएगा फिर उनको भी.
Right.
तो they have a means to convey their
Hmm.
emotion or thoughts. कोई स्केच कर रहा है, कोई आर्ट बना रहा है, कोई म्यूजिक बना रहा है. Like there are
Absolutely.
designers who are into music, there are musicians who are into design,
Yeah.
there are people who are doing both. So
Yeah.
बहुत
I
बहुत
was into music.
great.
I used to play drums.
क्या बात है.
College में I was part of this band, which was we only formed in the last year. But I used to play drums. I used to play Metallica actually. So
Great.
yeah,
Damn, like
yeah,
even the toughest. I have a dream of learning one music instrument.
yeah.
Like recently, I'm trying to do a very weird thing. I recently started going to boxing. I started
Nice,
playing football.
nice,
Been 2 years in the gym, so like now my physique is a bit better than before.
nice.
Because I am a person who never played cricket or something
Hmm.
like that. In gully cricket वगैरह बहुत कम खेला है.
Uh,
I used to get like busy with the internet.
hmm.
तभी यहाँ चंडीगढ़ पहुंच पाए, चंडीगढ़ से फिर बेंगलोर पहुंचे. अगर वो चीज नहीं पता होती तो फिर हम डिजाइन के बारे में जान भी नहीं पाते.
Hmm.
So that also played an important role. Now अब समझ में आ गया चीजें क्या है, तो
Right,
चलो अब एक्सप्लोर करते हैं.
right.
तो चल रहा है ये चीज. Coming back to you,
Uh-huh.
let's talk about this thing, this design land, and the reason that we are here,
Right,
the reason that we got
right,
connected. All of
right.
this experience that you had, like
Hmm.
mentorship, helping people, and then writing your own book.
Right.
What made you start Designland? Like कैसे वो हुआ? Tell us about the journey.
So it was we were meeting a lot of the ADP list mentors.
Okay.
ठीक है, in Hyderabad. And it was, I think, the first ever meetup that I've ever been to, a design meetup. And imagine this, this was not long ago. I think couple of years. ठीक है? Not even couple of years. I think last year only.
Last year, before
Yeah.
Designland.
Yeah.
क्या बात है?
That was my first ever design meetup
Okay.
that I ever attended.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this is cool. So all of these people are coming, and then we're meeting. All the people, we have our introductions, we meet and we discuss, etc. It was a cool thing. I mean, I could relate to what people are saying. They're like-minded people. तो अच्छा था काफी. And this was the what do you say, informal sort of a thing. So before this, there was another event that I had attended that was very formal, and उसमें थोड़ा सा मैं बोर हो गया था. And I was like, यार मजा नहीं आ रहा इसमें ना, थोड़ा सा very formalish crowd and everything. So मैंने कहा चलो ठीक है. So when I went to this one, I like the vibe, I like the people, and we started meeting as a normally, we were catching up. And I think it was sometime around towards the end of I think uh, March, I think, yeah, February, March में कभी. So I got this invitation to uh, uh, speak at the design festival of IIT Hyderabad. So I
Okay.
was after that talk, all these designers all in Hyderabad that I was connected with, all these people came and showed up that day. And for people who do not know, so IIT Hyderabad and Hyderabad are like two different states, ठीक है? बहुत दूर है. वो
Okay.
पास में नहीं, it's not in the city.
Yes.
It's like some, I think 60, 70 kilometers from the city. So all these people showed up, and that was like a big thing, मतलब to show up and support. And I still remember Amit, my friend Amit Shetty, he said, यार इसका पहला talk है, IIT में जाना है.
क्या बात.
I was like, wow, yeah. So all of these people came, and after the talk, we were sitting, हम लोग वहाँ पे, I think Domino's का था, वहाँ पे कैफेटेरिया में बैठे, and we were like, bro, हम लोग हैदराबाद का एक डिजाइन फेस्टिवल क्यों नहीं करते? That was the idea. Ki our homegrown thing, we've been meeting and there's so much potential. We don't have anything like this. We should do a Hyderabad ka apna design festival. That's how it all started. And so we were approaching May. And by the time we thought that, yaar, ki agar kuch karna hai, to May would be super hot to do. And the momentum had already picked up, and I was like, कि यार हम लोग क्या करें अभी? And then we collectively thought, okay, why not we launch a community and see, अगर 100 लोग भी आ जाते हैं ना 2 हफ्ते में तो भी ठीक है.
Okay.
So to our surprise, mind-boggling numbers came up. I was like, okay. We were sitting, Abhishek, me, and बाकी लोग जो भी थे, Harsh, Kashish, Surbhi, Amit, all of us were sitting, and it was like, okay, the first day itself, within 24 hours, we hit 1,000 members.
Yeah, I still remember you guys hitting
Huh.
2000 in a day, I
Yeah.
think. In a
And
day or in 2 days.
in 2 days, we actually filled the whole 2000 का community.
Yeah,
ठीक है?
exactly. Yeah,
तो
that's
2000
what I
का,
saw.
हाँ, 2000 खत्म हो गया, and we were like, okay, what do we do now? What do we do now? We didn't
Okay.
plan for this.
Uh,
So then everybody was like, okay, we should take this seriously, because if they're joining, then there is need for this. So at that time, there were no offline events happening. Okay? Everybody was online. Everybody was doing online workshops and stuff. Like, yaar, maza kahan hai online mein? Let's go offline. Like, this is our thing to do. So we did a first ever Designland meetup in Hyderabad. And that's when we released the poster also, the Designland ka poster. And you wouldn't believe all the things that you see, all the assets. Like, I think एक रात में बने हैं सब. All the things, like we finalized everything and we just pushed it off. Like, ठीक है. I think that's what experience gives you. Like you worked on a few things for a while, so it gives you some leverage, I would say. So a lean team working like crazy, and when we did the first Hyderabad ka meetup, a lot of people turned up, and that was an encouraging sign. And then we got invites from Pune and Mumbai and college students, basically. So we collaborated with colleges. We went and did a meetup there. Pune ka to, I think we had like some 150 plus people turn up, and in Mumbai also close to 100 people turn up. I think that was insane for us. And since so this was all fun. So Designland for us is fun. So since we were going from Hyderabad to Pune and Mumbai, we said, यार एक road trip मार लेते हैं. तो actually अभिषेक ने बोला चलो मैं गाड़ी लेके आ रहा हूँ. And we did it. Like we drove down to Pune, and then we went to Mumbai, and then we came back to Hyderabad. गाड़ी में पूरा road trip करके meetups. And
Uh,
it was quite the experience that we done. And after that, I think it slowly spread to Delhi. Uh, like people from other cities had started asking, and I think right around that time you were also there, like saying, "अरे Bangalore कब आ रहे हो? Bangalore कब आ
अभी
रहे
बाकी है
हो?"
अभी ऑफिशियल डिजाइन लैंड बाकी है अच्छे से दैट
Yeah.
वाज बहुत स्मॉल था वो हाँ,
So we were like, okay. And then before that, in May itself, towards the end of May, I was launching my own book,
हाँ,
May
हाँ,
28th. So we were like, okay, we have this opportunity to convert this into a Designland event where we can call the
हाँ,
people and, we can have a networking dinner with the book launch.
हाँ,
And and we didn't tell anybody that Akib Wani was going to be there.
okay.
And yeah, because like he was coming for the book launch and he had done the forward for my book and he was going to be there for the book launch, and there was uh, chief secretary of
Yeah.
the ICSC Board of
Yeah.
Education. He was
Yeah.
also there for the book launch. So we wanted to make that a little, sort of a closed event, yet we wanted to have designers on board
Mhm.
so that they can come for the networking dinner. So that happened, and a lot of people turned up then also. We had some 80 plus, 87, I guess, 87, 88 people turn up. And that was in 1 week. So we were so, packed with our schedules.
Mhm.
And we did that. And uske 2 hafte baad, June 14th, was our big event in Hyderabad.
Yeah. So that.
Yeah. So, अब भाई
Mhm.
2 हफ्ते में वहां से आके यहाँ आए.
Mhm.
And then we started working on this event.
Mhm.
Like this was the biggest we ever done till date, and we wanted to see how people would, do this and accept this.
Mhm.
So we reached out to big professionals in the industry with 20, 30 years of experience. They were really happy to see this, and they were really happy that something like this was happening in Hyderabad. And they'd come, and I think it was a huge success for us. We got covered in the media coverage, news channels,
Mhm.
mein, local. I think it was part of some talk shows as well. People talked about it, so we got to hear a lot of things and random calls. My
Mhm.
school friends
Mhm.
who were in Mumbai,
Mhm.
they had called and said, "Bro, आज office में
Mhm.
I heard people talking about Designland."
क्या बात है
And वो MRF का ऑफिस, सॉरी चेन्नई में
Mhm.
ये कहता कि MRF का ऑफिस है. I was like, wow,
Mhm.
how is this happening? I was like, crazy, ऐसे कैसे हो रहा है? And this guy's a core engineer.
Oh.
So it sort of spread, and I think the relatability factor was high in the meetups and everything,
Mhm.
because we had very, like, next to nil entry barrier. कुछ नहीं था हमारे में.
No.
हाँ, we had no criteria कि हाँ यार इतना experience होना चाहिए, ये होना चाहिए,
Mhm.
वो होना चाहिए. We had nothing like that. We were like, okay, creative हो, आ जाओ, join करो. Like, it was cool for us. And yeah, I think that's how it all, turned out to be. And now we are getting invites from all, like, other colleges, other institutions, companies. Uh, like Bangalore was one of that
Mhm.
collaborations we did with Postman, and we did an event there in Bangalore. Even there, I think
Mhm.
Vinith also mentioned, the
Mhm.
director of UX there, towards the end, that he was skeptical about it. He said that, यार बहुत meetups हो रहे हैं,
Mhm.
बहुत events हो रहे हैं, and I don't really align with any of that.
Mhm.
Uh, I sort of told him about the topic that we picked up, the curiosity and constraints. He was like, okay, this is interesting. And after the meetup also, the event also, he was like, towards the end of it, he said, Sanjay, let's do it again. Like, I really like this. Like, Abhishek, you should
Yeah.
also, we should plan something soon. I would love to do this. I like the vibe. I like the energy that you guys bring it.
Mhm.
And I like how it's super energetic, and you have a music also happening in
Mhm.
the event. So even the Hyderabad event, we had a dance workshop. So we made all our speakers also dance. We had everybody dance, and then we
Mhm.
had, I think, close to 220 people that day. in the event Hyderabad में, and there was live music as well उसमें. So it's a mixture of everything, and because this is fun for us, that's what I say. And somebody recently asked me, how do you manage these things?
I was about to ask that
podcast.
thing.
Yeah. So
The biggest question.
so
Do you have more than 24 hours?
नहीं
Do you
bro.
still sleep 5 hours?
No. I sleep well. I
Ah.
sleep well now because see, creativity, I've realized for me, I have to have that sleep.
I can strongly agree with that.
Yeah,
I
I
go to
have
gym,
to have that sleep.
like I go to the gym, my body needs rest, at
Hmm.
least 8 hours. Today I slept for 7 hours, उठ के आधे घंटे ऐसे बैठे, फिर सो गए। 8 घंटे की नींद नहीं हुई है, नहीं होगा काम।
हाँ,
लिटरली
बिल्कुल,
पूरा दिन खराब हो जाएगा।
बिल्कुल, exactly. And so managing this, I was like, it was a fun conversation. I said, तो जब भी बोर हो जाते हैं ना, हम लोग डिजाइनलैंड का इवेंट कर लेते हैं।
ये बढ़िया था, ये बढ़िया था।
So it's because, see, the whole point of Designland is that it's there's a reason. See, I am not from a design family, creative family, design background. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. And Abhishek, my co-founder, he also comes from an engineering background, and he didn't have any design education. He's all self-taught. I'm also self-taught. So we both have followed something, that spark, that feeling that you also know very well.
Exactly.
कि यार इसमें मजा आ रहा है, तो कहीं ना कहीं मुझे लगा यार कि इतनी सारी चीजें कर रहा हूँ, but I was always focused on checking if I still have that spark, if I still have that same fun. So somewhere अब क्लाइंट के साथ काम करते करते वो थोड़ा सा कम हो जाता है,
होगा एक टाइम पे
है
जरूर
ना?
होगा।
हाँ, तो and then mentorship is something that I encourage people, I mentor people, mentorship courses. Conversations is where I'm absorbing because I like to learn, I like to know about things. Book is where I emptied my brain and pushed it out. So what is fun? I started asking, and I was like, okay, for us, me and Abhishek and the rest of the team that we have, it's more like वो जो fun element है ना, वो जो मजा जो आता है ना, that is what Designland is for us.
That
That
is
is what
great.
we want to do.
That
That
is
is what
great.
we want to do. Yeah.
See, the thing is कि I have a couple of questions regarding this, but as a designer, I am coming from engineering background. तो 2 साल लॉकडाउन में गया, उस टाइम डिजाइन किया, बट जैसे ही कॉलेज गए फिजिकली 2022 में अराउंड in the end of 2022 October. After that, I had only like 1.5 year जितना देर हम कॉलेज में रहे, but at that time I was surrounded by non-creatives. पूरे कॉलेज में 3 लोग ऐसे होंगे जो डिजाइनर्स हैं. I can name them.
Yeah.
शशि, इशिका एंड सोनाल. They are like, इसमें सोनाल भी सीनियर है. So out of them, like बहुत rare. And people who can understand what I am doing, वो तो और ही rare. There were some people who were telling me, भाई कोडिंग कर ले, कहाँ प्लेसमेंट मिलेगी? And then they are still struggling for a placement.
Right.
Like ठीक है, I'm flex नहीं मानना चाहते, but this is
Right.
something that people were telling me.
Yeah, you
क्या
should
कर रहे हो, ये
flex.
सब क्या कर, हाँ ये सब क्यों कर रहे हो, ये कोड कर लो, लैंग्वेज सीख लो. हम कहे ठीक है देखते हैं. पैसा आ रहा है ना अभी, उस टाइम पे पैसा सबसे बड़ा मोटिवेशन था.
Right.
Because I was earning like good enough. There was a time I was earning equal to the salary of my teacher in my class. वो प्रोफेसर खड़ा है, उसकी सैलरी 30-35 हजार. I was making more than that. और हम बैठ के काम कर रहे हैं. और बाकी सारे जो दोस्त हैं, उस टाइम तक ऐसा हो गया था कि लाइक हाँ चलो कुछ नहीं, पैसा कमा रहा है, तब इज्जत मिलने लगी थी. बट द थिंग इज कि बीइंग सराउंडेड बाय नॉन क्रिएटिव्स बहुत इम्पैक्ट करता है. तो आई यूज्ड टू गो टू इवेंट्स, आई यूज्ड टू गो टू एज मच इवेंट एज पॉसिबल. और चंडीगढ़ में कुछ नहीं होता था, अब हो रहा है, उस टाइम पे तो कुछ नहीं हो रहा था. तो आई यूज्ड टू गो टू दिल्ली, और दिल्ली में देयर वर अ लॉट ऑफ इवेंट्स. बट समथिंग लाइक डिजाइनलैंड, और अभी रिसेंटली बहुत से इवेंट्स होने लगे हैं. एडीपी लिस्ट के मीटअप हुए थे. सो राइट नाउ इट इज अ लॉट मोर. जैसे आपने बताया पोस्टमैन किया, विनीत. अब बहुत सारे इवेंट्स हो रहे हैं, बहुत सारे मीटअप्स हो रहे हैं, रियली बहुत सारे मीटअप्स हो रहे हैं, बट उसमें से अच्छे कितने हैं, बहुत रेयर है.
हाँ
And why I'm forcing it, like I'm asking you guys to come to Bangalore to do a good meetup, because even in Bangalore there are lot of एक सेम लेवल के सारे इवेंट्स है. और डिजाइन की तो बात ही छोड़ दीजिए, डिजाइन की जो टॉप लेवल इवेंट्स है उनकी फीस ही इतनी है, एंट्री फीस ही
हाँ.
इतनी है. यूएक्स इंडिया, क्यूरियस, भाई लुट जाएंगे.
That is actually, I'm glad you brought that point up, because that is one of the main reasons why we also wanted Designland events to be super affordable.
Okay,
ठीक
I
है.
still don't know why they are so expensive. I have no
Yeah,
idea.
I understand. I mean, I mean,
I
yeah,
think it was worth it.
see, I was curious.
Okay. Curious,
For
I can say that is reasonable. 10,000, 20,000, 12,000 is okay,
yeah,
reasonable. But UX
UX,
India was 30,000. It is like,
yeah.
what?
I'm
I
not
was
sure.
curious. Yeah, tell us
Yeah,
about that.
Curious was good. Although I did not attend any talks or anything at Curious,
Okay.
I couldn't manage to be there for the talks, etc.
Okay.
I was only for the award ceremony there. So I think towards the end of the event only I reached. So उस दिन शाम को वो था award ceremony. So I had gone. So my book had won the Curious Design Award, and
Yeah,
and
congratulations, sir.
thank you. So I'd gone to the award ceremony, and whatever I've learned, I've picked up from the Curious event was only through my observations and my interactions afterwards, not the talks. And I was blown away thinking that, yaar, if I had attended this event,
Okay.
I would have learned so much, because the speakers were amazing and the topics were amazing. It was a very well curated event. And it was beautiful. It was just symphony. I mean, it was nice. So that really struck me, and then I've learned so many things from just conversations, and I've also heard a lot of good things about how the event went. It was really nice for that.
Yeah, I think what I feel is that is the great experience. But what I feel is that the cost, the price, it's all about
Yeah,
getting the opportunity of you being in a room of
yeah,
creatives or such creatives,
absolutely,
like
absolutely.
the industry professionals, experts, them
Yeah,
like top 1% of the industry. So
yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. Even in UX India, Don Norman was there. I think in UX India, or
Hmm.
I think in ADI, I'm not sure. He was also
I'm not
here.
really aware of that. Yeah,
Yeah. So like you are getting an access to Don Norman. Who doesn't want that?
yeah,
If
yeah,
Kirsto comes here, people will be mad. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah, there are a few names that you would really do want to go and meet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Akif Bane is someone who I really admire. I have already mentioned that. I would
Yeah,
definitely love to meet him. Like
Akib
he is
bhai.
the idol. That is the stage that I want to go
Yeah.
like in the rest of my life. You
So
I yeah. Yeah, go on.
भाई का काम तो मतलब बहुत ही unconventional है.
Yeah, I think
Like
बहुत चीज
it's
करता है.
quite
Like he's doing everything.
unconventional. Yeah, his space design work is
Uh-huh.
amazing. Yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
the way he comes out with ideas and stuff, and the way his approach is, and if you speak to him, is super simple. ऐसा लगेगा कि यार एक दोस्त से बात कर रहे हो.
क्या बात है. That's what people should be.
Yeah, he's a really good designer and really good person, actually, to be very honest. Like you find
Say hi to him. Would love to him to on this podcast. Yeah, if it is possible.
definitely, I mean, reach out. He's definitely looking for he loves speaking to people also.
Means a lot.
You should see his him in during any events. I think he would come to Bangalore some of the events, so you should definitely don't miss that chance, because
I
one
think
thing
he
about
usually comes to like mostly close events or not that
नहीं
public
ऐसा
events.
नहीं
Yeah.
है. So public
I
events
haven't
पे आते हैं.
I haven't got any event. I might have missed it, but yeah.
So what happens is you'll find him talking to every person who is coming to him and asking, till the last person he has spoken to. He won't leave. वो वहाँ बैठे रहेंगे, आराम से बात करेंगे. इवन एंट्री एग्जिट गेट के पास भी कोई पकड़ लेगा ना, वहां पे बात करेंगे आराम से. He won't leave without answering all the questions. It is amazing, yaar. I mean, I've learned so much from him.
Great person, great personality, great designer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, his work is so great. Like from branding to speech design,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
magic कह सकते हो.
It's insane, yaar. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's insane.
Cool. So moving ahead to Designland,
Mhm.
what have been your biggest challenge when you were starting this? Like
Mhm.
you told us the story of how you started, but tell us about the challenges.
Challenges. So basically, when things blow up,
Mhm.
you don't know what to do,
Okay.
right? Uh, भाई आ तो गए 2000 लोग, and people were asking, we cannot
Mhm.
join, we cannot join, we cannot join. We had a second community, but was that the right decision, or should we go Discord? What is the so there are a lot of friction. There's a lot of
Mhm.
friction between these applications and how users interact with it.
Mhm.
At the same time, we don't want to lose the Gen Z and the
Mhm.
millennials, right?
Both. Okay.
Right, both. So, and then we have the things like we have to get volunteers on
Mhm.
board. So looking for that same vibe or the interest in doing things was it's definitely a task to actually identify people who are proactively doing it. So that had actually that was something that we figured out.
Mhm.
And even before that, I think the team was so nice and so in sync that something came up and we were like, okay, let's do this. And everybody would just follow through.
Okay.
And you wouldn't believe
Mhm.
we did not have any conversations about branding. We never had conversations about branding.
Mhm.
We just had this idea in our minds, and I created and I sent it across in the group, and it was like everybody was like, dude, this is what I was thinking. This is what I was thinking. I was like, okay.
Great. Mhm.
So we were all in sync
Mhm.
that way. So that was amazing thing about what we have been doing. So challenges, I would say, definitely we haven't done this before. Okay. And even during the events we're done. So two big events, I would say, the Delhi one we are
Mhm.
done, and then the Hyderabad one. So we want to identify local ambassadors or catalysts, as we say. Let's say Hyderabad ke ho gaye, Delhi ke ho
Mhm.
gaye. We want to build that network now
Mhm.
because we want people to be there. We have a lot of people already in the community who are actively working in different states and cities. But we want to build and let's say get more people on board because we are getting requests from different cities.
Okay.
So for us, it will be difficult to be at each and every event or
Mhm.
meetup, right? So although we would love to do that, so, but meetups pe maybe not possible. Maybe events pe we can be there
Mhm.
at events. So this is something that we're figuring out how to do. I would say a challenge that we're trying to solve, a problem that we're trying to solve.
Mhm.
Other than that, I think, yeah, working on branding again.
Mhm.
We're doing that. Uh, in the process, it's more like a fun thing. कोई भी चैलेंज आता है तो ऐसा लगता है कि चलो एक ग्रुप कॉल कर लेते हैं
Mhm.
and we find the solution towards the end of it.
You got
So,
a really good team, I would say. Great team, not good, great team.
yeah, I mean, it's
Uh,
it's more like, so we are very open to
mhm.
things. We don't have कल को अगर कोई आके बोले ना कि यार संजय, what, this branding is shit. We should
Mhm.
do something like this.
Mhm.
This is how it should be. This is how we should do it. I was like, okay, yeah, why not? Let's do that. We're that open.
Cool.
Like we're really that open,
Mhm.
and that's how it should be because it's the community. It's more like सिंपल सी बात है यार. देखो अपने गांव में
Mhm.
हमारा there is this unwritten rule.
Mhm.
कुछ भी फंक्शन होता है तो सब आ जाते हैं यार, बुलाने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती है. ठीक है.
और सब ज्ञान भी देते लाइक ये यहाँ नहीं
हाँ
हो रहा है वहां नहीं हो रहा है और वो
हाँ,
हेल्प भी
एग्जैक्टली
करता है.
एग्जैक्टली.
हाँ.
एंड दे हैव द ओनरशिप.
हम्म.
हम बड़े बड़े वर्ड्स अभी यूज करते हैं, ओनरशिप है, ये
हम्म.
है, वो है.
हाँ.
अरे यार वो हमारे कल्चर में है.
एग्जैक्टली.
हाँ, हमें उसको आज लाने की जरूरत नहीं है, वो हमारे में
हम्म.
है. It's just that the Western world has just romanticized the words personal brand, ये brand, वो
हम्म.
brand. अरे यार वो सब है. भाई तुम्हारे गांव में जो सरपंच है, सरपंच को भी छोड़ो, एक आदमी या कुछ लोग ऐसे होते हैं जिसकी बात के लिए लोग गो एंड सीक एडवाइस कि उनके पास जाके कुछ हमें सॉल्यूशन मिलेगा। भाई वो तो सोशल मीडिया पे नहीं पोस्ट करते कंटेंट, है ना। उनका क्या है, वो जो ऑथेंटिक है, वो जो सही है वो बताते हैं, एंड उसकी वैल्यू है, राइट। वो अपने तरीके से कुछ, दे डोंट एडवर्टाइज एनीथिंग, सो इट इज द पर्सनल ब्रांड ऑफ दैट पर्सन, जो हमारे कल्चर में है
एग्जैक्टली।
है ना। दैट इज व्हाट इज पर्सनल ब्रांड यार। ये लिंक्डइन पे जितना भी अब चल रहा है,
या
ऐसे ऐसे लिखे जा रहे हैं ये, you get what I'm saying, the parallels that I'm trying to draw here
या
is this.
completely understand. Yeah,
So that's what the community is all about, you know.
personal
That's
brand
what
has
you want to do.
become no more personal.
Yeah, I
Even
mean,
Chris जो posted about this कि like क्या एक पर्सनल ब्रांड आके बस सेल्स करनी है, क्लाइंट निकालना
yeah,
है।
exactly,
पर्सनल
exactly.
कहाँ गया?
It's commercial.
हाँ, कमर्शियल ब्रांडिंग हो गई है
It's
अभी।
commercial.
हाँ,
So that's the thing. We never wanted to be commercial. We wanted to be somebody, you know. We wanted to be a community where we are approachable, we are chill, laid back. I mean, uh, we couldn't get bean bags in time for the Bangalore event.
okay,
Otherwise, we would have had bean bags.
कोई नहीं, कभी खली नहीं,
So,
लोग
so,
ही इतने अच्छे थे। Yeah,
so that's the vibe, you know. That's the sort of an energy that we want to bring to the community, and that is what we are basically. So, जो है सो है. That's the
cool.
idea.
So one thing I observed in the last Bangalore event also, like there were a lot of people and parents, like designers and parents who were having conversation with you.
Mhm.
So what do you think about the upcoming generation? How curious and how excited they are? And is there anything wrong that is going to happen? Any concern?
So I think they have a lot of exposure these days. Uh, right now, so पहले क्या होता था ना कि when I started out, this courses, mentorship and everything. So I would say that a lot of students would call कि मेरे पेरेंट्स से बात कर लो, उनको कन्विंस कर दो, ठीक है। अभी क्या होता है कि पेरेंट्स से दैट आई सॉ दिस वीडियो ऑन यूट्यूब, कैन यू टेल मी मोर अबाउट दिस।
Okay.
So the parents are more informed. So I was I think in June this year, I was in Goa. I was invited, like I and Abhishek, we were invited to be part of this thing called an education summit for the educators in India.
Okay.
And these were the school principals and like,
Yeah.
you know,
You
schools like
mentioned
Don
about
Bosco, Mayo College Ajmer, Emerald Heights, Indore, and all of these big schools, big educators, all of them were there. So I was invited as a host for their podcast. So I was hosting the podcast. I was talking to the educators and all of those people. So there I had conversations with the educators who are actually in touch with all the people, all the kids now, right? All the K-12, all the school kids and all. So one thing that they have told me is that parents are more than aware now.
okay.
They know a lot of things. ठीक है, उनको बहुत कुछ पता है, ठीक है। So what comes, the challenge that comes here is to satisfy that fully aware parent,
Okay.
right? So this pushes you to be really good at what you do, ठीक है। So this is a good challenge to have, and I faced that myself. Like when I mentor students, most of the parents also sit in my mentorship sessions when I'm giving feedback to my students. Um, of course, they are not like in front of the camera, but you know, after the sessions, I receive texts saying like I was part of the session today, and I really am glad that you know, they have a mentor who is guiding them like this. So, or sometimes what they say is, okay, my kid is really stuck. She's not able to ideate. She's not able to generate ideas. She's not able to come up with new compositions, you know? So how do I deal with this? I mean, कभी तुम्हारे पेरेंट्स ने पूछा है, कभी मेरे पेरेंट्स ने पूछा है ना? नहीं ना? I was like, these fellows, are so lucky to have parents like this.
Exactly.
So that is a big change that I've seen, a very big change. And talking about students, so somewhere I feel that this generation, Gen Z, is super fast in picking up things,
Mhm.
super fast. Like they are so seconds में pick कर लिया, you know. अब इसका छोटा सा नेगेटिव साइड भी है कि उनको सब सेकंड्स में चाहिए, ठीक है। एक ये
Exactly.
भी है, एक ये भी है।
जल्दी से रिजाइन सीखना है, जल्दी से जॉब चाहिए,
हाँ
जल्दी से पैसा चाहिए, जल्दी से
हाँ,
हाइक चाहिए, जो
सब
कि
सब कुछ
सबसे
जल्दी चाहिए।
बड़ा गलत फहमी है कि जल्दी नहीं होगा, कोई चीज
Yeah.
जल्दी नहीं होगी।
So something that I really talk about is the process. So you have to let the process take its time. भाई मैगी भी 2 मिनट में बनती है, बट 2 मिनट तो दो उसको बनने में।
एग्जैक्टली।
2 सेकंड में निकालोगे तो नहीं बनेगी मैगी यार।
एग्जैक्टली, वही चीज बोला ना, लाइक द प्रोसेस,
हाँ,
and it is a never ending process,
yeah,
like the life of a creative, life of a
yeah.
designer, you are learning something new every day, every year, ये लाइफ
Yes,
टाइम चलेगा।
absolutely.
I personally, I never think about taking an exit from the creative world or taking a
Hmm.
retirement from the creative world.
Yeah,
लोग रिटायरमेंट के बाद ये चीज करते हैं। We decided to
exactly.
make this as our career, so there is no retirement.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
And your creative outlets just, take a different form towards the end of the
yeah,
day. I mean, now I anyway had this interest in music, so I was playing drums. I was, playing in bands and stuff. Since I don't do that anymore, now I want to visualize sounds. So that is a small experiment that I'm doing with my illustrations and my experimentations and explorations, I would say.
okay.
So it definitely evolves over time, and definitely you come up with something new. Uh, so that is bound to happen. जो आई थिंक बाकी डोमेन्स में भी नहीं है।
बाकी डोमेन में I think there is a set rule. Even
Hmm.
in design, there is a set rule.
Yeah,
What we are talking about is creativity and art. It is
yeah,
like
yeah,
free from exploration.
yeah, yeah.
But the moment a client is there, everything changes. तब
Yeah,
यहाँ
it
नहीं सिर्फ
depends.
म्यूजिक से कुछ बना सकते। तब आपको क्लाइंट को सेटिस्फाई करना पड़ेगा, क्लाइंट को सेटिस्फाई करना पड़ेगा। Even if it is a big client, then there are multiple people to take the decision.
Yeah.
बोर्ड है, फिर और स्टेक होल्डर्स है, तो वो चीजें फिर कमर्शियल हो जाती
Yes, yes,
है। Yeah,
yes,
as you
absolutely.
mentioned, yeah, exactly. So talking about the
Absolutely.
parents, how hard it was for you to make your parents convince about
Oh,
design?
wow. Okay. So, I told my parents, I never told them about that I'm exploring design as a career option. तो सबसे बड़ी गलती वो करी मैंने कि बताया नहीं उनको पहले, ठीक है। Although I did tell them that, I'm interested in design, I really want to take up design. So after BTech na, I had a job offer Bangalore से, and August की बात है 2014. So when I told my dad that January में 2015 में there'll be design exams and I want to do that. If I take up this job, I will not be able to concentrate. ठीक है? So I'm not going to join. ठीक है? वो सबसे बड़ा बम फोड़ दिया।
क्या बात।
ठीक है? And dad was like, क्या? What?
2014 की बात है, अभी समझ में भी आता, 2014 की बात है।
14 की बात है। Like, क्या? So dad was like, अच्छा, कैसे? Like he tried to explain a lot of things because, of course, he was also right कि यार एक मतलब देखो, coming from a family of farmers, and we've always, for us it was making a means to, make a living. कि पैसे कमा रहे हो, अभी क्या है बेटा, हो गया ग्रेजुएट हो गया, अब ये कमाएगा, अपना एजुकेशन लोन ये पूरा करेगा, ठीक है, and there'll be a lot of responsibilities as a son you have to take up. अब now I'm saying that कि नहीं यार मेरे को तो कुछ और करना है, completely different, and which they didn't know about. आज भी अगर मैं मतलब anybody asks my dad, to a certain point they'll say that okay, this is what he's doing, and beyond that he'll just give me a call and said, अरे यहाँ पे मैं अंकल से मिला हूँ, उनको पता क्या करता है तू। So that's how it is. Like it's not their fault. They're not brought up certain way, right? So I didn't speak to my dad for 3 days. तो बात ही नहीं हुई। घर पे वो कुछ ऐसे हो जाता है ना माहौल कि बात नहीं हो रही है, कुछ नहीं हो रहा है। खाना अगर लगाना तो टेबल पे प्लेट रख दिया जाता है तो जाके खा लो।
साइलेंट बहिष्कार।
तो नो
Yeah.
डायलॉग्स, नथिंग
Mm.
हैपनिंग। एंड आई वाज लाइक यार क्या करूं यू नो। एंड टुवर्ड्स 3 दिन के बाद डैड called me and he said, since this is about life, since this is about what you will be doing, uh, बस ये मत करना कि स्टार्ट करके छोड़ो मत, यू नो। सो दिस इज व्हाट ही सेड टू मी। ही वाज लाइक, अगर तेरे को करना है ये, तो ये 100% जा इसमें। बीच में अगर कहीं ऐसा लगा कि नहीं हो पाएगा तो ऐसा छोड़ के मत आइए वापस। नॉट दैट आई वाज डूइंग दैट, बट बिकॉज ही वाज कंसर्न्ड अबाउट द फ्यूचर। एंड आई वाज लाइक वाओ, दैट इज एग्जैक्टली व्हाट आई वांटेड टू हियर, यू नो, कि जाओ करो। एंड दैट वाज इट, लाइक इट जस्ट चेंज्ड एवरीथिंग। एंड उसके बाद से I think after that I sold my first ever artwork in an art gallery, and then a lot of things started happening, you know, because I was already constantly working, putting in the work. So they had started seeing results of that. They started seeing, I applied to different universities. I got admits from all the universities I applied to. And I went and met, I think College for Creative Studies के कोई US California में. So their coordinator had come to India to for the admission fair and everything, and I showed him
I
my
think I met
portfolio.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, so I showed him my portfolio, and he was like, "It doesn't look like you did not have a design education. How did you learn all of this?" I was like, यार मैंने तो बस ऑब्जर्वेशन से सीखा है। लाइक मेरे को तो जो दिखा और मेरे को सही लगा, मैं समझा कि हाँ ऐसा ऐसा होता है, तो मैंने किया। And he was like, oh, that is quite good actually. And that's when I felt like everything, you know, all of these things started just boosting me up कि हाँ कुछ है। And after that, my dad never questioned. It was my parents who would say that even if I'm going through a tough phase, you know, my parents would say, अरे तू कर लेगा, ठीक है, you'll figure it out. It's okay, you'll figure it out. You know, so that support was always there. Definitely.
That is the most important thing.
Yeah.
I coming from a middle class family,
Hmm.
my parents were always concerned about कि क्या करेगा, कैसे करेगा. But I'm glad that they are supporting. But
Yeah.
like literally, I was not expecting कि इतना easy होगा समझाना.
हाँ.
हाँ सच में like इनिशियली जब हम कोडिंग था लाइक कोर्स में कि कोडिंग है करने को, तो कोई नहीं कर रहे थे। इनिशियल के 2 साल डिजाइन कॉलेज के लॉकडाउन में आई वाज डिजाइनिंग, आई वाज हैविंग इंटर्नशिप। 10 घंटे 12 घंटे काम करे, 5 इंटर्नशिप एक साथ देके चल रहे, मूनलाइटिंग कर रहे थे एक तरह से उस टाइप में, बट पता नहीं था क्या होता है ये सब चीजें। तो खुश थे, मजा आ रहा था, लाइक नेक्स्ट लेवल। बट राइट नाउ अभी तो अच्छी खासी जॉब छोड़ के बैठ गए अपना कुछ नया पहाड़ तोड़ने। इवन इन दिस थिंग दे आर सपोर्टिंग, लाइक ठीक है कोई नहीं, अभी हम लोग संभाल रहे हैं घर, तुम कर लो, नहीं हुआ क्या, जॉब तो मिल ही जाएगी, तो वो चीज तो है। और वो माइंड से दिमाग में है ही नहीं कि जॉब मिल जाएगी, जॉब तो ठीक है मिल जाएगी, बट वापस जाने की नौबत नहीं आने देनी है।
Exactly.
हाँ,
I think that's what. And another funny thing is, again, mentioning this on the podcast for the first time. So a lot of firsts happening here on your podcast. So
thank you, my pleasure.
So in I think 2019, so when I was working as a senior art director, so it was my dad who said, why don't you just join for a while and, you know, see, just get the hang of how things are going. And 35 days away. So that same week when I quit, 2 things happened. I quit after 35 days, and my dad got retired after 35 years of service.
On the same week?
Yeah, same week.
On the same week, oh.
Same week. Okay. So I was there like 35 days, and he's there like 35 years of experience. I was like, कितना फर्क है हम दोनों में.
Yeah, that is great. That is a great coincidence. I would say not a great,
and,
but still, yeah.
Yeah, and that time also my dad was like, my parents were super supportive. My mom was also like, ठीक है, like if you think that this is the way that you want to go, then do it. Like 100%, like go 100% into it. Just do it. So I was anyway freelancing then. So I think all my life I've been a freelancer. And that's how I started my studio work and everything. वो सब कुछ होने लगा. So in that 35 days, the last 2 weeks, I was figuring out how to register my studio.
Okay.
So
Nice.
so
Nice to start. So, if you don't mind, what happened in 35 days? Like, tell us about this experience.
So 35 days, Mina, I was given a really good team. And so what happened was that the studio was doing amazing work.
Okay.
ठीक है. But somehow I felt that the team was not being recognized for what they were doing. And second thing was that creative freedom was less. ठीक है. And third thing, it was a lot of work that I was doing. Sort of made me think कि मैं दूसरों के लिए क्यों इतना काम कर रहा हूँ. हाँ, this was the exact thing that that I had, and it was there all throughout the days that I was working there. I was like, यार कितना काम कर रहा हूँ? Why am I doing it for somebody else? I know that I will not get these projects from day one, but I can do something out of this. जो मैं काम कर रहा हूँ, there is so my job was to visualize the scripts. So they get scripts that they have to visualize. We have to make animation videos, right, for clients. So my job was to synthesize the information, like process all of that information from the script and then convert it into visuals in a style that would work for the client, etc., etc., etc. So I was thinking, yeah, this whole thing of doing, and the day I joined, I'm not even kidding, they were working on a script for 2 months. Okay. The day I joined, I cracked that script. Towards the end of the day, I gave the presentation. I was like, okay, this is what I'm thinking, and everybody was like, oh, why did we not think about that? So they're working on this project for Ghana Jukebox. It's a B2B thing, and they were trying all different directions. I was like, okay, music and colors. Why did you not think about colors? Like, we can do this. Like, this is the idea that I'm thinking about. And they were like, okay, this is the good direction. And that actually went through with the client also. So a lot of validations I've had during those times, and it sort of made me feel like, okay, I think I should start working hard on my own work.
I think if you stayed in that job, AI would have taken the job. Because that is something we can do with AI.
Yeah, maybe, but then
no offense.
No offense, but I think we should talk about this as well, because yes, AI can replace a few things, but at the end of the day,
if you don't adapt,
at the end of the day, the direction has to be given by us only. Still, I would say that, see, being creative is something that create. Okay? Creativity is something that you possess. Okay? So we use our creativity to create. So what AI is doing is creating. It cannot think and on its own. It cannot. We have to give it something to think in a certain direction. So the direction is still ours. Creation भले वो कर रहा है, but even then it is not 100%. ठीक है? And you will always figure out if a certain graphic is made by AI or a human.
Yeah, that is easily distinguishable. Even a video is there.
Right?
Like people are so hyped up. Like, AI can do this, AI can do that. I'm like, okay, what is the point?
Yeah,
Which
but
client
AI
is going to use this? Tell me. No one is going to use.
And AI can do a lot of things that our designers can, it can just take a lot of things away out of our heads, and वो pressure हटा सकता है. For example, it can act as your assistant. भाई इतनी सारी चीजें हैं, you're not good at management maybe, so वो वाला काम उसको दे दो.
I have a co-founder. ChatGPT is my co-founder. Honestly, I'm paying 22,000,
Hmm.
like $23 a
Hmm.
month,
Hmm.
just because I need a place to dump.
Huh.
I'm having a financial crisis. I'm dumping there. I'm
Huh.
having a client, new project, or
Huh.
even if I'm having a challenge with a prospect. Today I
Huh.
was having a challenging task conversation.
Hmm.
He want to start the phase one without depositing because he
Hmm.
has a very bad experience with past
Right.
design.
Right.
I'm like, this is kind of like it is a good project, budget project. I don't
Hmm.
want to lose this because of being rigid. So I
Hmm.
asked ChatGPT, what should I do?
Hmm.
Then okay, sort like it helped me.
Nice.
It gave me a
Nice.
good decision. And
Hmm.
even the whatever ChatGPT told, it was me who took the decision to say to the client, and it
Right.
worked.
Right. And I think, ठीक है, we just have to adopt
That is the best, biggest thing.
and
Uh,
adapt. Yeah, adapt
yeah,
and
adopt both.
improvise.
Yeah,
Improvise.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I think we have
Yeah.
covered a lot of things. If you don't
Yeah.
mind, we can continue this for a while.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Go ahead.
Sure, cool. So I have few more things I would like to ask
Sure.
apart from the community.
Sure.
One biggest thing, what is
Hmm.
the biggest problem that you are seeing in this industry right now? Like all these young designers, or you can say all the senior designers.
Mhm.
There is a flaws in everyone. So what are the differences like in the beginners and in the seniors?
Okay. So, I can talk from my experience, or from what
Sure,
I've
sure.
seen or
Hmm,
observed.
hmm,
So, I wouldn't say problem as such. Yeah, okay. One big problem that we were
hmm,
also trying to solve with Designland
hmm.
was, um, so you would have seen that every company wants to be Gen Z ready,
Yeah.
right? So
Hmm.
also not only from the Designland perspective, not only from the community perspective, but we were working on a co-branding of it's not a co-brand, rebranding of a cybersecurity client, and they are operating in US, Canada, UK, and
Hmm.
India. So they wanted to hire Gen Z,
Okay.
and their branding did not appeal to Gen Z.
Okay.
So we have to make the company maybe not only look Gen Z ready, but also feel Gen Z ready, you know?
Hmm.
So this is a big gap.
Hmm.
ठीक है? There are people with 20, 30 years of experience. There are beginners. What they are doing in the
Hmm.
office up there, and then there are people who are joining. There's a generation gap.
Okay.
ठीक है? And this is also true for the millennials and the Gen Z. ठीक है? So ये जो gap है ना, this every company is trying to
Hmm.
minimize
Okay.
so that these people come and work with them because they are the future.
Hmm.
So being future ready, being relevant to
Hmm.
these people, like the next generation, is a challenge that everybody has. Let it be an institution, let it
Hmm.
be a corporate office, let it be anything, a startup. That challenge is definitely there. Now you have to adapt. This has to happen both ways. Gen Z adapts, not a problem.
Yeah.
For people with a lot of cognitive
Mm.
bias, to adapt is the challenge.
Their whole existence comes at the stake.
है ना? So existence hai, and then a lot of experience that they've had. See, they have seen a different evolution altogether, and this is completely different. So that is the change that people have to accept. That's the biggest thing that I see in the industry right now. And this is for both the leaders and the young people. So what we are doing is we are bringing like the big people from different domains and making them sit with the Gen Z and the entry level designers and the millennials. So that is a good thing that's happening. And I am recalling something that Prachi Sakadande said. She is the principal researcher of Microsoft. She was after
Yeah.
the event. She said we were asking her feedback, like how did we do? Because this is the first time that we've done this, you know.
Mhm.
And she was like, "This is amazing because you're bringing in
Mhm.
us, people like us from different fields. We had architects, we had uh, people from visual design, people from UX, people from founder experience, entrepreneur. So all of these people coming together and sharing their experience to the young folks and networking with them. So this, consider on a regular day in any office. Do you think this happens? No,
Yeah,
right? It doesn't happen.
absolutely
So
not. Yeah, everybody is busy in their
yeah,
own world.
yeah, it doesn't happen. And for the new designers to just go and straight away talk to the leaders, design leaders and of the company, it doesn't happen like that. So that is something that I would say is the challenge that we have. And second thing is although a lot of companies, like all the companies, I would say, are adapting and incorporating AI into their process. So this is something to look forward to, because we don't know yet what will be the outcome of this evolution with AI. So this is something that we all have our eyes set on. कि हाँ क्या होगा देखते हैं. We are, I would say, um, filling the holes in the bucket as we fill the water in it. So it's
That
something
was
like
a
that.
nice analogy. Yeah, that was good. That is wrong in all of the community that is being there. It is in
Hmm.
India or on a global level, because there are a lot of communities coming up
Hmm.
on a
Hmm.
daily
Hmm.
basis. What is wrong?
Yeah, wrong. Though I would say,
What can be better? Something like that.
um, so a community thrives when we know about each other.
Okay.
Okay. It's the relationship that we have. Imagine if we were like this podcast is a result of that. Okay. Of our
Yeah.
conversation and our meeting. And this is not part of the community thing, right? This is completely different. So when that relation is there, a lot of things happen. It gives birth to different collaborations, different possibilities, synergies that we explore. So for that to happen, there has to be this relation with people. So that, I think, I wouldn't say is missing. I would say should be the core of the community.
Connection.
Connection. What I see is there are a lot of communities. Um, there are people running chapters. Like I've seen Friends of Figma. Amazing community. Amazing community, right? Amazing people heading different chapters. I know a lot of them who are running different chapters, and big shout out to Prashant, Mayank, and Harsh, who are running Hyderabad's chapter. Uh, Amazing job. And Shivangi, who is running Pune ka chapter. Amazing job. Like they're doing collaborations, they're doing fun stuff. But then there are also people who are running these micro communities who only do events and project themselves to the communities. So that is the intent for the community has to be pure. That is something that I really, really want every community to do. And this is a constant check for us, also Designland, because so many times you wouldn't have seen me post about my courses, my episodes, never on my podcast, my Designland channels. I've never done that till now. Maybe I'll post them on general promotions as all people do. I will do it. But till now I haven't done that. Till now I haven't even talked about my book also in the general promotions channel. I haven't done that because somewhere I had this hesitation that okay, maybe not. But although I can post, ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं नहीं कर सकता. I can do it. A lot of people do post. It is for that purpose. Maybe I will overcome this and do it in future. ठीक है? But the intent has to be pure. That whatever we are doing, it is for the community. अपना self के लिए नहीं करना है. That is the biggest thing, because this is about the person you are, right? That is where your you reflect your inner thing. So that has to be honest, is what I say. So I would want, so I make honest designs, is what I say. Okay, honest illustrations, honest mentorship. I talk about my struggles in my mentorship. Okay, my courses, and that's where you're genuine, right? So that honesty is required, is what my
I
idea of
think
a
I think
community
you,
is.
you pointed a very great uh, thing here, because if I think about it right now, I have been a part of those communities where I was genuinely connected.
Hmm.
There are a lot of communities and groups which I have left immediately after
Hmm.
joining for a while, or like being a
Yeah.
part of for a while,
Right.
because of the vibe and the people. Because either they are just giving,
Hmm.
purely giving, either they are just taking, or like just being there, sitting and having,
Yeah.
like तुम लोग 10 लोग को एक जगह कर दिया, बस अब तुम लोग जो करना है करो. So this is like, it is okay. It is a good thing to curate, to start curation, but
Hmm.
not just to stop there. That is the starting
Right.
point.
Right.
So Designland, I really enjoyed. EDP list is a good, but that is more of a physical event. The online community is great, but it is all about mentorship.
Hmm.
Then there are a few other communities which I am being part of, but there is one more community which is doing really great. YDI, Young
Hmm.
Designers India, Shashank Vora. So yeah, that is also doing great. So I think I definitely agree with this point, that having a very good intent.
Hmm.
Sushant has a very great intent,
Hmm.
taking and like making global audience aware about Indian designers who are doing a very great job. And then they are helping with jobs and everything. So like everything is there.
Hmm.
Same thing with you. So yeah, I think you pointed a very very strong point. Yeah, glad you bring this up. Yeah, that
Thank you.
was the thing that I wanted to understand. Like, अगर आप community कर रहे हो, सबका होता है. If I
Huh.
start something,
Huh.
if I start make
Huh.
something, तो इंडस्ट्री में कुछ तो गड़बड़ हुआ तभी स्टार्ट किया है. तो वो चीज समझ में आ जाती है कि लाइक कुछ
Hmm.
तो होगा कि जो
Hmm.
like, ये जैसे चाय की चाय बना रहे हैं, कर रहे हैं, पी रहे हैं, तो
Right.
ठीक है 10 लोग की चाय पिए, कुछ तो कमी है, रुको हम बनाते हैं.
Hmm. Hmm.
तो समझ
Hmm.
में आ जाता है वो चीज.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was great.
Hmm.
So I think we should wrap this up
Hmm.
with one final question.
Right.
That
Yeah.
was great. You mentioned that you're trying to solve this and fill the gap with the
Hmm.
design land. So
Mhm.
how exactly are you planning for the future
Okay.
to solve this problem?
So we would have a lot of keeping the fun element and everything aside. That's the experience, that the whole feel and look and feel and everything. There will be a lot of events that we will be focusing on that does not talk about the stereotypes or the most commonly used terms like UX. Okay. We will not talk about that. We will talk about all the other things that are necessary for the designer. Okay. Uh, I mean, if you look at it, UX is part of every design field. User experience. वो सिर्फ डिजिटल के लिए नहीं है. एक ये माइक बना रहे हो, इसका यूजर एक्सपीरियंस भी तो है कि मैं कैसे यूज कर रहा हूँ, how does it feel when I'm holding it. All of these things, these headphones, it is done for the user. तो ऐसे तो हो नहीं सकता ना कि यूजर के बारे में सोचा ही नहीं और उन्होंने बना दिया. नहीं हो सकता. It doesn't happen like that. So it's just that this term is being overused quite a lot, and we need that uh, this thing called un-UX,
Okay.
you know. So that's what our focus will be moving forward. And a lot of the senior folks, the leaders, design leaders, also feel it, actually, to be honest, with all the conversations that we've been having. And a lot of the senior folks also feel it. And when we shared this idea that, okay, we're working something on these lines, they were really happy. And same thing with Vineet as well, in Postman. And he was so happy that our theme was not UX.
Oh,
Although
okay.
he's the director of UX.
Yeah.
Okay. He said, you've picked up curiosity and constraints. That nobody talks about it. Because that is like one of the core things that a designer has.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's the beautiful aspect of it. And all the talks that we also curate, if you remember that Vineet's was more of the practical side of it. Mine was a little bit on the philosophical side of it, being relevant. And then Abhishek's was more on the lighter note, taking the core thing and then making it very light and presenting it in a way
making it
that
more
people
fun.
understand.
Yeah.
So it was all well curated event where we had, and this is not something that I'm saying. This came from direct Vinny, and it was like, okay, did this happen or did you curate it this way? I was like, no, we curated it that way because that is what we want to do with these things. So moving forward, definitely more of these things will be there, and a bigger vision, we will make it fun for sure.
Definitely. One thing I would like to understand in terms of communities, what is the one thing you would like to address or point out or call out